This week on the Brody File, move over, Jimmy Stewart. There's a new movie in town. Get ready for Mr. Paul Goes to Washington.
I will speak until I can no longer speak.
What Rand Paul's filibuster means for the future of conservatism. Also, best-selling author Joel Rosenberg is in the house. Jenny in the B Block talks to him about Israel and President Obama.
How important is it to Prime Minister Netanyahu to get that green light from President Obama?
I think it's critical.
And cutting the fat. Brody File contributor Caitlin Burke goes in search of what you would cut from your budget. The Fed sure aren't doing a good job.
What would you cut out?
Probably Starbucks and Cafe Mocha. That's basically what I spend most of my money on.
Plus, rah rah, sis boom bah. Cheerleaders in Texas go biblical. The Brody File is next. And welcome everybody to another edition of the Brody File. Hey, look, before we go any further, we just want to bring your attention to the Brody File goatee. That's right, we're trying a new makeover. We're kind of going for the Leonardo DiCaprio look, but look, who knows, we may end up looking like this guy in just a few weeks. Now to the news. Senator Rand Paul dominating the headlines after his 13-hour filibuster on the Senate floor last week. It was regarding the Obama administration's secrecy over drone strikes on Americans. You know, it reminded us of Jimmy Stewart's classic filibuster in the movie Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
I'm going to stay right here and fight for this lost cause, even if this room gets filled with lies like these. And the Taylors and all their armies come marching into this place. Somebody will listen to me.
Well, how are you going to outdo that? Well, let's take a trip with the senator as Mr. Paul goes to Washington. He didn't exactly faint, but he had his moments.
I will speak until I can no longer speak. I will speak as long as it takes until the alarm is sounded from coast to coast that our Constitution is important.
No one will ever forget Jane Fonda swiveling around in North Vietnamese armored guns, and it was despicable. Now, it's one thing if you want to try her for treason, but are you going to just drop a drone Hellfire missile on Jane Fonda?
During his filibuster, he got some help from some of his Republican colleagues, including constitutional conservative Senator Ted Cruz, who came by to not just read from the Constitution. No, not that. Also, he read tweets. Welcome to a social media crazed filibuster.
I will read a series of tweets. So proud of Rand Paul standing up for what's right. Stand with Rand. Rand Paul, a reason to be proud of your elected representatives again. Keep going, Rand.
You know, this filibuster is perfect material for a Brody File commentary. Look, folks, Rand Paul may have been talking about drones and spewing libertarian philosophy on when to wage war, but this filibuster is much deeper than any of that. Not to take anything away from the content of what Senator Paul said during his filibuster, but let's be clear. Rand Paul wants to run for president in 2016. And look, the first thing you have to do in American politics, if you ever want to be seriously considered, is that you have to be noticed. Well, mission accomplished. Rand Paul got noticed. He's not a dumb guy. He gets it. He is playing the media like a fiddle. I mean, he completed his filibuster, and then what did he do? He took a victory lap the next day on all the major network shows. But beyond that, he showed that he's a man of principle. I mean, this is no act. Actually, I should really say when he runs in 2016, he is the guy who has now begun to establish himself as a man with deep convictions. Well, guess what? The whole nation now knows about him. Round one to Rand Paul. You know, the Brody File has talked to Rand Paul numerous times about his libertarian-leaning views. Here was a conversation we had with him recently where he talked about how a libertarian mindset can actually work for the Republican Party. How can both of those sects, if you will, work together for the future of this country?
Well, it's kind of what we need as a Republican Party, because the libertarian message, the libertarian Republican message, attracts a lot of young people. We need those in our party. The president won the majority of the youth vote. The libertarian message also goes beyond, the Caucasian ethnic group. It's attractive to Hispanics, it's attractive to African Americans. There's a lot about this will help us to grow the party, and we haven't been doing so well with just doing our traditional approach. I think if you combine traditional conservatism with libertarianism, that you fuse them, somehow you'll grow your party big enough to win national elections again.
That is Rand Paul on the Brody File. All right, time now to move to the 2014 midterm landscape. Republicans are poised to actually do well in these midterms because the Democrats are defending more Senate seats than Republicans. And they got more good news this week. Michigan Senator Carl Levin is retiring. He's been in the Senate since the Civil War, or at least it feels that way. That leaves the GOP with a chance at a pickup in Michigan. Also retiring are Democrat Senators Jay Rockefeller, Frank Lautenberg, and Tom Harkin. Not Tom Hanks, Tom Harkin. The GOP is going to need to win quite a few seats to win back control of the Senate. All right, time now to talk about the latest on President Obama and spending cuts. Now, I know, it's hard to contemplate all of that in one sentence, but check out the latest on the sequester. How about the move by new Secretary of State John Kerry? So he's in Egypt, he's meeting with Muslim Brotherhood leader Mohammed Morsi, and he goes ahead and pledges $250 million to Morsi's radical government. Now, remember, Morsi is the guy who called Jews apes and pigs. Remember this?
إما الصهاينة وما يريدون وإما الحرب. هذا ما يعرفه هؤلاء المحتلين لأرض فلسطين المعتدين على الفلسطينيين هؤلاء مصاصي الدماء مشعلي الحروب أحفاد القردة والخنازير.
Just so we're clear, the president is giving money to that guy in Egypt, the apes and pigs guy, but because of the sequester, we're cutting our military left and right. Heck, we're even cutting the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund. Folks, what is wrong with this picture? The topic of President Obama and spending cuts also came up during a heated exchange on Fox News' The O'Reilly Factor show. I mean, have you seen this clip yet? Here is liberal analyst Alan Colmes going at it with an irate Bill O'Reilly over the fact that this president hasn't proposed any single specific spending cuts.
He's offered $2.50 in tax cuts for every dollar in tax increases.
Not specific.
But it says yes, he has. He's offered cuts in Medicare. He's offered cuts in entitlement.
No, that's not specific. He has to say, here are the programs that are going to go down. Here's how we're going to reform Medicare and Social Security. And the man refuses to do it.
Yes, it is. He has said he's willing to cut these programs.
Hold it, because now I'm getting teed off of you. Give me one program he said he cut.
He has cut entitlements. He has cut
entitlements. One program.
What do you want to yell at?
Because you're lying.
I'm not lying.
You are lying.
Don't call me a liar. Don't you sit there and call me a liar.
You're lying.
I'm not lying.
Hey, here's the proof.
You don't like the president. You don't like what he's doing. But don't sit there and call me a liar.
I am. Give me one program.
We can have a disagreement without you calling me a liar. That's not necessary.
No, you're lying.
That's not necessary.
You are lying.
I'm not lying. We have a disagreement. There's a difference between having a disagreement and calling me a liar. That's a personal attack.
This is why I'm calling you a liar. Give me one program he said he cut.
He would cut Medicare and Medicaid. He would actually cut
specific program.
That is some serious anger by Bill O'Reilly. So the Brody File has a suggestion. He should go take a class on anger management, like this.
My name is Sheila Kozlowski, and we are here today for anger management. So why don't we all take a big group breath in, just breathe in, and breathe out.
All right, let's move on quickly. I'm getting angry. With all this talk about budgets and sequesters and cuts, oh my, we decided to send Brody File contributor Caitlin Burke out this week to trim the fat.
Where does the money go? What happens to all that brass?
And Caitlin joins us now with more on that. Caitlin?
Well, David, it's no secret that the U.S. government has a spending problem. So while the folks in Washington try to figure that one out, we asked some people here how they would trim the fat from their own budgets. What would you cut out?
Probably Starbucks and Cafe Mocha. That's basically what I spend most of my money on. That and gas, but I need to drive, so coffee could coffee could be less in my life.
Beverages or something simple like that, or maybe like snack food or something, just eating like the main necessities.
My clothes. I mean, I spend a lot on fashion, you know, and I spend more time at work than I do not at work.
If you had to trim the fat a little bit, what would you cut?
I'd probably get rid of my Netflix account, and I'd probably not eat out anymore. I'd probably try to eat like really healthy, and I'd go to the grocery store a little bit more.
All of our pets, and that would save a lot of money, not having the cats and the dogs.
I'd probably just less eating out because my wife's a good cook.
So if you had to take a guess on what the U.S. federal government should do to cut back on their budget, do you have any suggestions for them?
I wish they would just literally sit down and go through all the pork barrel spending and all that stuff and just start cutting stuff.
I just think eliminating things that people might like but aren't necessarily needed to be funded by the government. I think there's a lot of things that private sectors could take care of.
I've heard they have a lot of spending on like really random research projects like squirrels and things. I think that could probably be cut.
David, I'd probably have to cut out the number of Chick-fil-A lunch runs that I make. What about you?
Well, look, no doubt it would be the Taco Bell runs. I mean, I'm over budget every week. Thanks, Caitlin. Appreciate it. All right, when we come back, President Obama gets set to do Jerusalem. Jenny in the B Block has the nitty-gritty next.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 US gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
And welcome back to the Brody File, everybody. All right, look, the Brody File has a few suggestions for President Obama when he goes packing for his next overseas trip. First of all, pack the potato latkes, also a good helping of gefilte fish, because guess what, Mr. President? You're heading to Israel. Good for you. It only took you 5 years to visit our closest ally. Nice. So what's going to go down in the Holy Land? Jenny in the B Block, a.k.a. Jennifer Wishon, is here to explain all about President Obama's first trip to Israel as Commander-in-Chief. Now, Jenny, here is my tip to the president. He's got to lay off the matzah. Too much of it will give him major digestive issues.
Oy vey, David. Well, listen, better late than never on this trip. And frankly, the president's visit is coming at a critical time for Israel and the Middle East as the Islamic Republic of Iran inches closer and closer to making a nuclear bomb.
The current regime in Iran is incredibly dangerous, and they're getting close to have the weapons that could accomplish their apocalyptic, genocidal ambitions.
Experts agree Iran's quest for a nuclear bomb is topic one when President Obama touches down on Israeli soil. The question is, will the president's visit be heavier on optics or substance?
I mean, you can't just go visit the Western Wall and pray and visit the shrine of the book and, go to Bethlehem and do the tourist sites, eat a falafel, and make everyone feel happier.
How big of a deal is it for the President of the United States to visit a foreign country?
Oh, it's an enormous symbol and signal to both the country that he visits and the countries around it.
President Obama has urged Israel to give sanctions and diplomacy a chance to work, but Iran continues to press ahead, even cozying up to North Korea, another rogue nation working to develop the capability to launch nuclear weapons.
Iran has seen North Korea test a nuclear warhead, and its scientists were there at the launch, which means this relationship between Iran and North Korea is very close.
Since winning re-election, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been busy organizing his new government. Now that his key leaders are in place, it's time to consider the timeline for the possibility of a preemptive strike against Iran.
The Israelis think this is going to come to the proverbial red line sometime in the next few months. American analysts seem to think it may take a little longer before the Iranians have the capability to attack Israel with a nuclear weapon. Intelligence is a very fuzzy business.
So I think the most Netanyahu can hope for is a green light from the president that, yes, we've run out of other options.
How important is it to Prime Minister Netanyahu to get that green light from President Obama?
I think it's critical.
Do you think that in a few months we'll be talking about war?
I think we're talking about it now. I mean, I think that Netanyahu, once he has his government fully squared away, meets with the president, will know, not if he's going to attack, but we'll begin to sense some posture.
Iran's nuclear ambitions and the threat that poses to Israel and the U.S. will likely be one of the biggest foreign policy challenges the president faces in his second term. And David, with each passing day, the chance of there being a peaceful solution grows less and less likely.
Dangerous waters for sure. Jenny, thank you.
Sure.
All right, when we come back, cutting the fat. Not out of the Brody File diet, there's a lot of that, but out of the federal budget and your own personal budget. What would you trim? Caitlin Burke with that in a moment.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need, just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions, just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card, just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
And welcome back to the Brody File. All right, with all this news surrounding the selection of a new pope, the Brody File wonders two things. First of all, is the Pope-mobile air-conditioned and equipped with four-wheel drive? That's a burning question. The second question, possibly more important, is what do Catholics think of the church today? Well, a new poll has some insight. Take a look. 52% of Catholics think the church is moving in the right direction. Just 31% don't think so. However, 52% of Catholics also think the church is out of touch with the views of Catholics. 62% say the next pope should allow priests to marry. And on same-sex marriage, check this out. Catholics 18 to 34 support same-sex marriage by a 62 to 30% margin. Catholics over 55 are opposed, 50 to 39%. All right, from the Catholic Church now to the Bible. That's called an evangelical transition. How about the move by new CIA Chief John Brennan? I mean, did you guys hear about this? He was sworn in as CIA chief by Vice President Joe Biden last week. But take a look. Look closely. No hand on the Bible. Actually, let me think for a moment. There's no Bible anywhere to be found. Instead, he went with his hand on an original draft of the Constitution that had George Washington's personal handwriting on it. Well, that's nice, but the problem here is that that Constitution is dated to 1787. That's before the Bill of Rights. In other words, he took the oath of office on a piece of paper that didn't include the First, the Fourth, the Fifth, or the Sixth Amendments. Oh, not to mention any of the other amendments included in our current version of the Constitution. Unbelievable. Or maybe not so unbelievable. All right, while we're loosely on the subject of the Bible, let's turn to the story of the Kuntz High School, Texas cheerleaders. We visited them recently out in East Texas. They are in the middle of one big controversy after they decided to write Bible verses on those run-through banners at the high school football games. Well, because it's a public school, some people threatened a lawsuit, and now the whole thing is tied up in the court system. Here's more of our report from Kuntz, Texas.
Across the nation, we're known as the best.
The Kuntz High School cheerleaders may seem like typical teenage girls. In reality, they're anything but. Take a look at these banners the Kuntz football players run through just before their games. The cheerleaders began writing Bible verses on them last fall. I had a chance to meet up with the team, and I asked them why they boldly decided to put their faith on display.
We're just all Christians, and we believe that the Bible is from God, and so if it's from God, why not? That's what we were thinking. Like, it's a positive message, and it's uplifting.
The girls' zeal for God's word was so contagious that it not only inspired their own football team, it caused the opposing teams to want to do the same thing. They also began writing scriptures on their banners. But a national atheist group, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, filed a complaint with the superintendent. They said Bible verses should not be displayed at football games because that basically meant the school was supporting a particular religion. The Texas Association of School Board Lawyers agreed. The cheerleaders said that was a violation of their free speech, and they filed a lawsuit. Their attorney, David Starnes, is working with Liberty Institute on the case.
This case is really all about the rights of students to express their sincerely held religious beliefs at school. The United States Supreme Court said that students do not leave their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate.
The case went to court last October, and a judge ruled the cheerleaders could continue to write scriptures on the banners for the rest of the football season. Late last month, the school board brought the issue before the community to hear their opinions. The cheerleaders stood up for their faith once again and received overwhelming support from the local community.
They're good kids. They've been raised right. They know what they believe, and they weren't afraid to stand up and say what they believe and to take whatever came with it.
Even the Texas governor and attorney general have publicly supported the cheerleaders. The attorney general honored them at a recent banquet, and he told me he is proud of the girls for standing on the founding principles of this country.
When you have the courage of your convictions, you can be a messenger for the entire world.
What's going on in the school? What is everybody saying in the school? Are you guys like, you guys are like the cool, famous cheerleaders, aren't you?
We're still the same people we always were. I mean, this has just helped our football boys and us come closer to each other, but I mean everything is still the same at school. We're all still close, and nobody argues. We hardly talk about it anymore.
Yeah. So for now, the cheerleaders are waiting for their next court date in June to see if they can continue to proclaim God's word at their high school football games.
K-H-S-O, yes!
The Brody File wishing the young ladies out in Kuntz the best of luck. Next, an Oy Vey moment of the week that is going to have every wife in America pretty upset. Back in a moment.
The game show of biblical proportions is back with more action, more fun, more stars, Kirk Franklin, Mary, and more nuns.
The nuns just whooped you, man.
The American Bible Challenge Season 2 premieres Thursday, March 21st at 9, 8 Central, only on GSN. Visit GSNTV.com to find GSN in your area.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new Grip Go, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and Grip Go grabs your phone ultra fast. That it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of Grip Go. You can get the amazing Grip Go with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete Grip Go systems for just $14.95.
To order Grip Go for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
The game show of biblical proportions is back. With more action, more fun, more stars, Kirk Franklin, Mary, and more nuns.
The nuns just whooped you, man.
The American Bible Challenge Season 2 premieres Thursday, March 21st at 9, 8 Central, only on GSN. Visit GSNTV.com to find GSN in your area.
And welcome back to the Brody File. All right, before we leave you, we have a story that literally made us say, what the what? It also made us think this would be a great Oy Vey moment of the week. All right, first a little background. Do you remember former South Carolina Governor Mark Sanford? He was the guy caught cheating on his wife. He made up the story that he was hiking the Appalachian Trail when really he was with his Argentinian mistress. Nice. Anyhow, now he's running for Congress and asking voters for a second chance.
I've experienced how none of us go through life without mistakes. But in their wake, we can learn a lot about grace, a God of second chances, and be the better for it.
All right, here's the Oy Vey part. He's asking his ex-wife to run his congressional campaign. Hey, look, if I'm the ex-wife, I would have gone and told him to take a hike along the Appalachian Trail. You know what I'm saying? By the way, Sanford now engaged to his Argentinian mistress. Oy Gewalt. That does it for this week, everybody. Until next time, God bless. Have a great week.